Hello there, this is the American Anarchist today. I am going to be addressing a question from Chrisiousity, and this is a great question. I love it personally. I love to answer questions like this. And this has to do with, this question has mainly to do with ableism because some, the way that some people talk can be misconstrued as only for people who can work. So, let's look at the question, shall we?
So I've been watching a lot of videos lately about anarchism, socialism, and things of that nature, and become much more interested in them. I like a lot of the things that people say. I find many of their arguments very compelling. At the same time, I continue to have concerns, and I just figured I might as well just ask, and then people can either just let me know what their thoughts are on these questions, or else direct me to books or periodicals or whatnot that maybe discuss them in a way that would help me to understand things better. So, my basic question is this. These sorts of philosophies talk a lot about the working class or the worker to the degree where the worker almost seems like the basic unit of a socialist society. Does that make sense in the way I'm saying it? Maybe not. Maybe I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth, but that's how I have interpreted it from what I have heard. So my major concern is, what about people who cannot be workers? What about people who have disabilities or illnesses or the elderly? How do you prevent those people from being devalued in a working class based society? How do you avoid those people becoming an underclass of their own? And I am interested also in understanding how domestic work, say raising of children and motherhood, fatherhood, parenthood, those sorts of things fit in, or if they fit in. So that's kind of the whole question that I have. And so I'm just throwing it out there. If anybody's interested in letting me know their thoughts, that would be great. Yeah, that's kind of it. I should say, I'm well aware that capitalism, when it comes to these groups of people, is incredibly problematic. I worked in a for-profit nursing home for 4 years. Nobody needs to explain that to me. I totally get that, right?
So, I am going to answer this as clearly as I can. I'm not going to sacrifice anything for the sake of brevity. I am going to break this down into two different parts because it's a multifaceted question. But when it comes to at least ability of workers, or when it comes to workers, I, as an anarchist, believe that honestly, if someone doesn't want to work or they don't want to work in a certain field, they shouldn't have to. It's a lot of it is about autonomy in anarchist society. So, um, your human value is not based solely on whether they can work or whether they work. Um, so it's it is a little bit difficult to talk about. So I think the best way to put it would be to address at least how we use worker as an anarchist. We're usually referring to the people who are forced to work for a wage and do not have any capital. These are the wage slaves or the workers. This is also, or you can refer to them as the proletariat. This whole part of society is under the heel of the upper part of society. So the way we're using the word is we're referring to them as an oppressed class. So, although you definitely are right that ableism could be an issue, Chrissy. So, the way I would look at it is that the way that we prevent these people from becoming an underclass is that we don't value them on their work. We simply talk about the worker as in the people who produce all the resources but get none of the capital, and that is simply what that means, at least from an anarchist perspective. So, that's going to segue into the domestic labor, such as parenting. Now, the value of parenting is absolutely priceless, so its value is very high. And in a society where everything is free access, you don't have, or everything that isn't scarce is free access, you don't have to worry about these people being oppressed, at least via things they need. There are definitely other issues that might come. You are going to have ableist people in society, racist people in society, sexist people in society, people who believe absolutely terrible things. You're going to have some prejudice in this society, although whenever society gets better for a group of people in treatment, we usually see that, or when it, by treatment from the state or the government, you also see this happen with, you also see this happen with society as a whole. Take, for example, the civil rights movement led by people like Martin Luther King. After this happens, after segregation ended, after a while, people started to realize that their prejudices were baseless. So, the fact that these prejudices are baseless in themselves, you'll see a decline. Now, this doesn't mean it'll go away. It'll be really hard for it to go away. It's possible it could, but as far as how they're treated by general society, the people who can't work are not going to be treated like a second class. So, the second part of it, of your question, which I think I started but never really finished. Yeah, so it's not based on how much you can produce. Everything is free access. I hope that I answered your question well enough. If there's anything else you think that I missed, any anarchists who think I missed something, or anything that you're curious about, ask me my opinion on it, or I am open to conversation about this. Now, please remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Alone at last we can sit and find